This is the English service of Radio Algeria International. It's time for the news.
The President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, has received French Minister of Justice, Mr. Gérald Darmanin, who indicated that his visit to Algeria aimed to improve judicial cooperation between the two countries, notably in sensitive cases such as that relating to embezzlement. Algeria has strongly condemned the attempted drone attack targeting Saudi Arabia and has reaffirmed its solidarity with the sister country. The WHO declared a public health emergency of international concern, its second highest alert level, in response to the Ebola outbreak affecting the DRC and Uganda. Hello and welcome to Radio Algeria International. I'm your host, Masoud Sharfi. The President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, has received the Keeper of the Seals, French Minister of Justice, Mr. Gérald Darmanin, who indicated that his visit to Algeria aimed to improve judicial cooperation between the two countries, notably in sensitive cases such as that relating to embezzlement. In a statement made following a meeting with the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, the French minister said that his meeting with his Algerian counterpart focused, among other things, on issues related to embezzlement.
We had long discussions on a large number of files. First, the case or cases related to embezzlement, then around 100 requests made by the Algerian authorities to recover assets, unfortunately stemming from corruption, so that the Algerian people, the Algerian government and the Algerian authorities may recover these seizures and tomorrow these confiscations with the cooperation of the French judiciary. We discussed this matter at length, and following our meeting this morning with the Minister of Justice, the National Financial Prosecutor, in complete independence, worked with his counterparts. Moreover, at the beginning of June, we invited the officials of the Algerian judicial authorities to come to Paris to further examine these cases so that we may bring before the French courts these seizure and confiscation cases involving, as you know, former officials of the Algerian regime.
Vous savez, d'anciens responsables du régime algérien.
Mr. Darmanin said Algeria and France share the fight against drug, mafias and organized crime, cooperate on judicial intelligence, and have exchanged information and extradition requests on both sides.
Le deuxième sujet, c'est évidemment la lutte contre la criminalité.
The second subject is obviously the fight against organized crime. We share with Algeria the difficulty of combating the mafias. There is no other word for them that bring in drugs and particularly affect our youth, whether it be cocaine, cannabis, or psychotropic substances. We share judicial intelligence work, moreover work that the two ministers of the Interior are carrying out, I know, but also judicial cooperation, and as far as France is concerned, efforts to combat a certain number of individuals who import cocaine into France or who commit or should be prevented from committing homicides on the national territory. We are obviously thinking of some figures from the DZ mafias, but there are other criminal organizations as well. And we have, without going into details, exchanged very valuable information and requested a certain number of extraditions, just as Algeria, moreover, has requested extraditions from France.
He said the third topic concerned penitentiaries and civil justice cooperation to support families on both sides of the Mediterranean and protect children, and that they also discussed individual cases, including that of Mr. Christophe Glaise, stressing the need to rebuild trust between France and Algeria.
Le troisième sujet, c'est évidemment des coopérations extrêmement importantes dans le domaine.
The third subject is obviously extremely important. It is cooperation in the penitentiary field and in the field of civil justice, so that the very many families on both sides of the Mediterranean may live as well as possible. We are obviously thinking of children and their protection. And then, of course, we discussed numerous individual cases. I naturally, on behalf of the President of the Republic, raised the case of Mr. Christophe Glaise. We therefore held a great many meetings. I thank the President of the Algerian Republic for the very long discussion he kindly granted me. We were able to discuss the work that we must continue to do in order to restore trust between the two countries that respect one another, France and Algeria. I personally believe that during 4.5 years as Minister of the Interior, I was able to show President Macron, President Tebboune and my counterparts that we know how, in complete frankness, sometimes with disagreements, but with a great deal of respect for our two peoples, to work for the good and the security of our two countries, whose history is intimately linked. It is a great honor for me to conclude this visit today. I invite my counterpart, the Minister of Justice, to come to France, following no doubt this visit, as we saw, of the Algerian Minister of the Interior to France.
Vous l'avez vu, du ministre de l'Intérieur algérienne en France.
The meeting was attended by several Algerian officials, including the State Minister in charge of Foreign Affairs and Ministers of Justice and Interior. Here in Algiers, the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, today received a telephone call from his Chadian counterpart, Mohamed Idriss Déby Itnou. During the call, the two men discussed a cooperation projects initiated by the two countries and planned visits to be paid by ministerial delegations to follow up the implementation of these projects. Algeria has strongly condemned the attempted drone attack targeting Saudi Arabia and has reaffirmed its solidarity with the sister country. The Foreign Ministry denounced the attempted attack, saying it constitutes a violation of international law and a blatant attack on Saudi Arabia's security, stability and sovereignty. It reiterated Algeria's full solidarity with the kingdom and expressed its support to the measures Saudi Arabia will take to safeguard its security and stability. The Minister Delegate to the Minister of National Defense, Chief of Staff, Army General Said Shengriha, is on a working visit of inspection to the 5th Military Region aimed at following up the implementation of the 2025-2026 Combat Preparation Program across all military regions. Army General Shengriha met with the region's executives and personnel and delivered an orientation speech broadcast via video conference to all members of the 5th Military Region, stressing that the People's National Army, under the leadership of President Abdelmajid Tebboune, is determined to continue developing its military capabilities and enhancing its operational readiness to fully carry out its constitutional missions and defend national sovereignty and higher interests. He added that this objective can only be achieved through continued implementation of combat preparation programs with seriousness and rigor to build a defense system based on high-level preparation, operational readiness, and resilience, stressing that the path to readiness begins with training and the belief that every professional and precise step contributes to deterrence and decisive capabilities, noting that the military superiority is not measured by only weapons, but also by the ability to withstand pressure, develop tactical alternatives, and achieve qualitative operational readiness. On the occasion, the Army General also commended the efforts of the region's executives and personnel in the fight against terrorism remnants and organized crime, urging them to work towards eradicating the last terrorist element from the national territory. The President of the People's National Assembly, Mr. Brahim Boughali, has extended his greetings to Algerian students on the occasion of the National Student Day, marking the 70th anniversary of the historic student strike, May 19, 1956. Mr. Boughali extended his best wishes to the Algerian students, describing them as the builders of the country's present, the hope of its future, and the bearers of the values of previous generations, adding that they represent the continuation of a living national memory and are steadily contributing through determination and knowledge to the edification or edification of a strong and victorious Algeria. In the same regard, the President of the Council of the Nation, Mr. Azzouz Nasri, also extended his greetings on the occasion of National Student Day, recalling the sacrifices of the Algerian students and praising the attention given by the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, to education as the foundation of building a prosperous and victorious Algeria. The Minister of State, Minister of Foreign Affairs, National Community Abroad and African Affairs, Mr. Ahmed Attaf, has received the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Cooperation and Niger Abroad and Nigerians Abroad of Niger, Mr. Bakari Yao Sangari, who is on an official visit to Algeria. On the occasion, Mr. Attaf held one-on-one meeting with his Niger counterpart, followed by a working visit extended to the members of the two delegations. The discussions focused on an in-depth assessment of the implementation of decisions taken by President Abdelmajid Tebboune and President Abdulrahman Tiani during their talks held in Algiers last March. They also assessed the progress achieved in stressing and reviewed progress in strengthening bilateral cooperation in priority sectors defined during the second session of the Joint High Commission held in Niamey on March 23rd, 24th, 2026, including energy, infrastructure, trade, industry, agriculture, finance, transport, health, and human resource training. The Minister of Interior, Local Authorities and Transport, Said Sayoud, has received the Minister of State, Minister of Interior, Public Security and Territorial Administration of Niger, Mohamed Tomba, and the delegation accompanying him, accompanied by the Secretary of State to the Minister of Foreign Affairs in charge of the National Community Abroad, Mr. Soufiane Chayeb. Mr. Sayoud received Mr. Tomba, who is on a working visit to Algeria, leading a major ministerial delegation that includes the Ministers of Foreign Affairs, Agriculture and Livestock, Energy, and the Secretary General of the Ministry of Petroleum. The Minister of Culture and Arts, Malika Bendouda, has received the Chadian Minister of Tourism, Development, Culture and Handicrafts, Abakar Rosi Tegil, with whom she examined ways to promote cultural and artistic cooperation towards broader prospects, reflecting the depth of historical ties between the two countries. The meeting, attended by Ambassador of Chad to Algeria, aimed to strengthen ties and cultural cooperation and review bilateral relations, with both sides agreeing on the participation of a high-level Chadian delegation in the International Colloquium on Manuscripts to be held on June 15th to 16th under the high patronage of the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune. The minister expressed Algeria's readiness to organize visits for Chadian delegations to Lagouat and to share its expertise in manuscript preservation, digitization, and the fight against trafficking of cultural property, as well as in heritage protection, including the creation of cultural parks, the dispatch of experts, and exchanges in artistic training and cultural heritage safeguard. The People's National Assembly is taking part today in Geneva, Switzerland, in the parliamentary dialogue organized by the Inter-Parliamentary Union in cooperation with the World Health Organization. The discussions focused on key issues and resolutions on the agenda of the World Health Organization, aiming to identify ways to support Parliament in implementing and monitoring these resolutions. During the meeting, the participants exchanged views with health experts and explore ways to strengthen cooperation with actors in the health sector. The President of the High Authority of Transparency, Prevention and Combating Corruption, Ms. Salima Mosarati, has taken part in the 17th session of the Implementation Review Group of the United Nations Convention Against Corruption held in Vienna, Austria. Ms. Maserati, alongside HTPLC board members Mr. Ilyas Bensassi and the head of the Department of Awareness, Training and Cooperation, Mr. Jamal Ramini, took part in the opening of the session to last until May 22nd. The first day focused on examining several agenda items, including the performance of the UN Convention Against Corruption review mechanism, financial and budgetary issues, and the implementation of the convention, particularly in terms of information exchange and sharing expertise, as well as the adoption of the group's report on its 17th session, ahead of the adoption of recommendations to be submitted by the participants. Health Minister Mohammed Sadiq Ait Masoudan reaffirmed on Geneva, Switzerland, during his participation in the 79th session of the World Health Assembly, Algeria's unwavering commitment to the principles of international solidarity and health equity, and its support for guaranteeing the right to health for all without exception.
In an international context marked by unprecedented health challenges such as pandemics, geopolitical tensions, and climate emergencies, the policies implemented in Algeria have led to a significant improvement in health indicators, achieving an average life expectancy of 80 years, meeting the Sustainable Development Goals related to maternal and child health, ensuring the country's needs for medicines, and eradicating a number of infectious diseases. Algeria will continue to reform its health system by strengthening infrastructure, advancing digitalization, training human resources, and promoting community-based healthcare, with a particular focus on prevention and maintaining free medical care. Algeria also reaffirms its commitment to its African policy, based on solidarity and joint development through effective health cooperation within the South-South Cooperation Vision through the Algerian Agency for International Cooperation.
The UN High Commission for Human Rights has warned that the killings and destructions which are contributing or continuing in the Gaza Strip, despite the enforcement of a ceasefire, have reached an unprecedented level in decades. The head of the UN Commission's office, the occupied Palestinian territory, affirmed in Geneva that the killings and destruction of infrastructure continued on a daily basis at a time when the humanitarian situation remained disastrous. The Director General of the World Health Organization, WHO, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, has said he was deeply concerned about the scale and speed of the outbreak affecting the Democratic Republic of the Congo. More details with Jamal Silmani.
Mr. Tedros emphasized this in his keynote address on the second day of the World Health Organization Annual Assembly of Member States in Geneva. The WHO chief declared a public health emergency of international concern, its second highest alert level, in response to the Ebola outbreak affecting the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Uganda.
And because I'm deeply concerned about the scale and the speed of the epidemic, we will convene the emergency committee today to advise us on temporary recommendations. So far, 30 cases have been confirmed in the DRC from the northern province of Ituri. Beyond the confirmed cases, there are more than 500 suspected cases and 130 suspected deaths. These numbers will change as field operations are scaling up, including strengthening surveillance, contact tracing, and laboratory testing. Cases have been reported in urban areas, including Kampala and the city of Goma in the DRC. Third, deaths have been reported among health workers, indicating healthcare-associated transmission. Fourth, there is significant population movement in the area.
Meanwhile, the African Union Health Agency, Africa CDC, has declared a continental public health emergency to address the Ebola outbreak affecting the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Uganda. According to the latest figures from the Congolese authorities, the outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo is believed to be responsible for 131 deaths and 513 suspected cases. One death has been recorded in neighboring Uganda. Dr. Anne Ansia, WHO representative in the Democratic Republic of the Congo from Bunia, Ituri, told reporters that there is significant uncertainty about the number of infections and how far the virus has spread.
The situation is deeply concerning. This species of Ebola is one of which there is no licensed vaccines or treatment for the time being, but we know that supportive care is life-saving. It is occurring in a highly complex epidemiological, operational, and humanitarian context. There is a lot of insecurity, population displacement, and we are working in both densely populated area, Bunia is a town, but also in areas that are hard to reach. Community engagement will be key, as it is only when the community understands the risk and can work with the response that such outbreaks are brought under control. We are working closely with the government, the provincial authorities, the local leaders and other partners to listen to the communities and work with them to protect them and to save their life.
The head of the World Health Organization has warned that hantavirus and Ebola are merely the latest crises in a dangerous and divisive area.
You have been listening to Radio Algeria International. Thank you. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome to Radio Algeria International. Today, May 19th, we commemorate National Student Day, a pivotal moment in Algeria's path to independence, and a day that reminds us of the enduring power of youth and education in shaping our nation's future. May 19, 1956, a date forever engraved in Algeria's memory. On that day, in a remarkable act of patriotism, hundreds of Algerian students laid down their pens and picked up the cause of freedom. Guided by the newly formed General Union of Algerian Muslim Students, they launched a nationwide strike, not for better grades or conditions, but for the liberation of their homeland. These young minds, the nation's future doctors, engineers and thinkers, chose to renounce their lectures and libraries. Instead, they marched into the mountains and joined the National Liberation Front, FLN, determined to fight colonial oppression with their words, their skills, and even with their lives. This strike was no symbolic gesture. It was a thunderous declaration that Algeria's youth would not sit idle while their nation bled. They would no longer be silent observers. They would be the pulse of the revolution. Blackboards to trenches, they became medics, couriers, freedom fighters, and ambassadors for the cause. Their courage shook the foundations of colonial arrogance and ignited a flame that still burns in the heart of every proud Algerian. Their sacrifice redefined the role of youth in nation building and etched their names into the heart of Algeria's revolutionary legacy. Algeria today is home to more than 1.8 million university students, many of whom are pioneering research in medicine, renewable energy, technology, artificial intelligence, and agriculture. Others are actively engaging in debates, startups, environmental activism, and cultural preservation. In recent years, student voices have played a vital role in civic movements and national debates. They are not only Algeria's future, they are shaping its present. But what does May 19th mean to the Algerian students of today? How do young people view this historic legacy in the context of their own lives, dreams, and challenges?
To me, May 19th isn't just a date in history. It's a reminder that students have always been at the heart of Algeria's fight for dignity. The student of 1956 gave up everything for our freedom, knowing that I feel a responsibility to honor their sacrifice by being active, informed, and engaged in building the Algeria they dreamed of.
Since 1962, the country has continuously invested in its education by expanding access to free education at all levels, including universities. Today, Algeria has over 100 public universities, higher schools and research centers. The government offers free university education, subsidized accommodation and meals, and merit-based scholarships, including postgraduate scholarships abroad. These efforts reflect the belief that education is not only a right, but a pillar of national development and sovereignty. By empowering its students, Algeria invests in a more skilled, innovative, and unified future. As we honor the courage of the students of 1956, let us also invest in today's youth through education, opportunity, and encouragement, because the dreams of the past live on in the ambitions of the present. This has been Radio Algeria International, the legacy of student resistance, echoes of the past, voices of the future. Happy Student Day, and long live the spirit of Algerian youth.
مع إذاعة الجزائر الدولية لن تفوتكم لحظة واحدة من الأخبار السياسية والاقتصادية الهامة. إذاعة الجزائر الدولية، صوتنا في العالم.
إذاعة الجزائر الدولية تنقل إليكم صوت الجزائر، تضعكم في الصورة وترسم لكم الطريق عبر محللين مختصين ومراسليها في العالم. إذاعة الجزائر الدولية، صوتنا في العالم.
تشاهدون برامج إذاعة الجزائر